It was a quiet, snowy Saturday morning in Botown, Canada. Little Ryan had just finished his cereal and was curled up watching cartoons, wearing his favorite blue shirt and black jeans. Everything felt peaceful until it wasn't. From the kitchen came a sudden crash, the clatter of a dropped spoon, and a soft groan. Ryan turned toward the sound just in time to see his mom holding her belly. Calmly, so calmly, she said it was time. The baby was coming right now. What followed only could be described as pure chaos. His dad flew down the stairs, trying to zip his jacket, grabbed the hospital bag, and dialed the phone all at once. He couldn't find the car keys. Bob stayed surprisingly calm, while Dad looked like he was about to pass out. Ryan, of course, knew what to do. Last time they had an emergency, he called 911. So this time, he suggested the same thing. Moments later, the paramedics arrived, the same pair Ryan had met before, one tall and serious, the other gentle with kind eyes. They got Mom safely into the ambulance and reassured Ryan that everything would be okay. Just as the door was about to close, two familiar faces appeared, friends of Mom and Dad, Auntie Clara and Uncle Ginny. They had come by to drop off a baby gift, but instead walked straight into a delivery scene. With wide eyes and loud voices, they jumped into the chaos like actors in a movie they didn't audition for. Somehow, Auntie Clara ended up joining the ride. She was already filming videos, documenting every second. Uncle Jide looked like he regretted showing up. The hospital was even wilder. The waiting room was packed. Nurses rushed in every direction. A man passed out just from hearing the word epidural. One nurse kept shouting, "Push!" like she was coaching a sports team. Ryan's dad lost his wallet. Someone congratulated him on having twins, which wasn't even true. And in the middle of it all was Ryan, wide eyed, curious. He had 100 questions and nobody to answer them. Will the baby come out with hair? Could she eat rice? Would he have to share his tablets? Then it happened. Ryan found a nurse's iPad sitting on a chair, and on the screen was a birthing video. Then, slowly and silently, he crawled under a hospital blanket and stayed there, completely stunned. So that's how babies got out. The kind paramedic eventually found him under the blanket, cheeks red, eyes huge. She gently offered him a piece of paper and some crayons. Maybe he could make a welcome card for his little sister. He nodded, but deep down, he wasn't sure he was ready for all this. Then, silence. And a soft sound, a tiny cry, so gentle it felt like magic. The nurse came out smiling. It was time. Ryan was invited into the delivery room. He tiptoed forward, nervous but excited. And there she was, wrapped in a pink blanket, resting in Mom's arms. Her name was Viola. Mom looked tired but happy. Dad stood beside her, still looking overwhelmed but proud. Ryan stared at the little bundle. He leaned forward, and then, in the softest voice, he introduced himself. He told her he was her big brother, that he'd protect her, and that when she was ready, he'd let her play with his toy Highlander car, his favorite one. And just like that, everything made sense again. Later that week back at school, Ryan stood proudly during show and tell. He held up a picture of his baby sister and told the whole class the truth. She had pooped on the nurse. Everyone burst out laughing. Even the teacher couldn't keep a straight face. Ryan smiled. He wasn't just little Ryan anymore. He was Big Brother Ryan, and his wildest day had become his sweetest memory. Thank you for watching. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase. And we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. What would you do if your 1 year old sister vanished into thin air during your first day babysitting? Because that's exactly what happened to little Ryan. 1 second, she was in the playpen, the next, gone. No footsteps, no warning, just a trail of puff puff crops and a cereal box on the floor. And let's just say, what started as a peaceful morning turned into total baby chaos. Here's how it all went down. Started with silence, too much silence. Little Ryan knew something was off the moment he finished his cereal. The house wasn't buzzing like it usually was. No sizzling from the kitchen, no footsteps, no baby babble from the monitor, just quiet. Then a whisper of movement upstairs. Ryan tiptoed toward the staircase. That's when he heard it. Mom's voice, soft and tired. I just need a nap, please. Just 30 minutes. Dad answered, Go ahead, I'll handle lunch. But Ryan knew better. Dad could barely handle the microwave. Ryan looked toward the playpen, where his 1 year old baby sister Viola sat. She grinned innocently. He stepped back suddenly, full of confidence. I got this, Ryan said aloud. I'm the big brother now. And that's how Operation Sibling Watch began. The first 5 minutes were smooth. Viola stayed in her playpen, bouncing and giggling. Ryan created a schedule on a whiteboard. Snack, play, nap, story, hug, done. He even drew stars behind each task. Easy, he whispered, clicking his pen. But then, she vanished. Ryan turned for 1 second to grab her favorite book, The Adventures of Little Ryan, and when he looked back, the playpen was empty. Viola, he called. Silence. Then came the sound. Bang! Followed by hee 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 hee. He sprinted into the kitchen. Viola was sitting inside the laundry basket, holding a banana, like it was a microphone. She'd somehow opened the pantry, tossed flour everywhere, and was now clapping joyfully as cereal rained from a knocked-over box. This is fine, Ryan muttered, trying to stay calm. He picked her up and reset the room, set her down, blinked. She was gone again. Quick, can you spot the toy Highlander car in the scene? It's hidden somewhere in the living room. Shout it out if you see it. That's when Ryan called him back up. Within minutes, Maya arrived with her sketch pad and walkie-talkie. Zaid brought a baby proofing kit. Tommy showed up with snacks, mostly for himself. We need to contain her, Maya said, drawing a plan. Or track her, Zaid added. I think she just took my puff puff, said Tommy. They turned around. Viola was standing. For the first time. It lasted 2 seconds, 3 maybe. But it felt like the entire world paused. And then she smiled and pulled down the curtains. The rest of the day, chaos. Viola crawled into the hallway, climbed onto the coffee table, and pressed every button on the TV remote. She threw Tommy's juice box into a potted plant. Zayd tried installing a baby monitor. Viola pulled it down. Ryan tried everything, a pillow fort, a toy trap, even a fake nap time setup. Nothing worked. She was winning. Eventually, Ryan slumped onto the couch, facing his hands. He didn't want to say it, but he thought it. Maybe I'm not ready for this big brother thing. That's when it happened. Tiny steps, a soft bubble. Viola waddled over, slow and wobbly. She looked up at him, smiled. Then she said it. Rai Rai. Ryan froze. Her first real word. His name. She opened her arms and without thinking, he pulled her into a hug. I guess I'm doing okay, he whispered. That night, the house was finally quiet. The sun had set, the chaos was over. The pillows were restocked, the juice had been wiped up, mostly, and Viola had finally drifted off to sleep. One tiny hand clutching Ryan's favorite toy Highlander car. Ryan sat beside her crib, legs crossed on the floor, just watching her breathe. Mom walked in quietly, a warm blanket draped over her shoulders. She paused at the door. She really loves you, you know, she said softly. Ryan nodded. She said my name today. I heard, Mom smiled. You were amazing. He looked up, even when she turned the whole house upside down. Especially then, she said, pulling him into a hug. Just before she turned out the lights, Ryan whispered to his sister one more time. Sleep tight, Viola. I'll always be your big brother. The room dimmed. The stars outside twinkled. And the house, for the first time all day, finally rested. But the next morning, Ryan woke up to find his toy Highlander car missing. And in its place was Mom's phone, unlocked, with an online order confirmation. To be continued. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. The suspect was headed toward the checkout, wearing a hoodie, sunglasses on, something clearly stuffed under their jacket. Ryan squinted from behind the counter. That shape looked just like one of his toy buses. He whispered into his pretend walkie talkie. Zara, stall them with free candy. Tommy, block the door. Maya, stay alert. We've got a code, you tongue. This wasn't just play anymore. This was a full on toy store emergency. Just 1 hour earlier, the whole thing started. Little Ryan had turned the living room into Ryan's mega toy mart. Toys lined every corner. Highlanders, taxis, ambulances, and a shiny black Yutong bus on the VIP shelf. There were signs like buy one, get three free. No crying, no parking in front of the doll section. Viola sat behind the pretend checkout in her stroller, holding a barcode scanner and chewing on a coupon. She was security, kind of. Then the customers rolled in. Told me, I'm here for Highlanders, only the fancy stuff. Zara, I'm reviewing your customer service. So far, too much glitter, not enough popcorn. Jaden, vroom, flash sale. Maya, already live streaming everything with her toy phone. If this turns into chaos, I want proof. And it did. Ryan looked at the shelf. The Utah boss was gone. He checked the floor. That's when he spotted it. A squished jelly donut under Viola's stroller, stuck to the mess, a piece of black plastic. His heart dropped. Someone took the Utong. Just then, the mystery shopper walked in. Hoodie, sunglasses, silent, headed straight for the shelf. Things got wild fast. Fake receipts in crayon showed up in the register. Jenny tried to trade in a car with no wheels, and a gummy bear stuck to it. Maya spotted someone on pretend security cab, crawling under the snack bin. Ryan called a meeting. Someone here stole my bus, and I'm not closing this store until we'll find out who. Zara clutched her glitter. Not me. Toby said, I only drive clean. Jaden held up 5 toy taxis and muttered, I found this. Then Ryan spotted a note behind the toy microwave. If you want the Utong back, meet me in the backyard. Come alone. Ryan marched outside. Detective hat on, toy clipboard in hard, determination in his eyes. By the sandbox, the suspect stood with a box. Inside, the Utong, the ambulance, the donut wrapper. Ryan stepped forward. You've got one chance to give those back. The hoodie came off. It was Maya! She laughed. I was testing your security. Ryan's mouth dropped. Testing? You had me planning a full on toy trial. Maya grinned. You passed. Also, your toy store just hit 15,000 fake views on my pretend live stream. Ryan shook his head. You are wild. Back inside, they reset the shop. Sarah gave him a five-star sticker. Jenny wrote a rap about the great Yutong robbery. Toby just kept shopping like nothing happened. Then Ryan looked over. The shelf was empty. Again. Hold on. He turned toward the toy bin. There sat Viola, one Highlander in her lap, the ambulance in her mouth, the Yutong under her leg like a stolen treasure. She looked up, eyes wide. Drive out, no refund. Ryan stared at her, then burst into laughter. I opened the toy store and my own sister was the real boss all along. The whole room cracked up. Even Viola smiled, holding the toy scanner up like a trophy. Toys everywhere, laughter, fake receipts in the air. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. The Adventures of Little Red book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Saturdays were Ryan's favorites, but this one was extra special. Mommy and Daddy were taking him to the biggest mall in the city. As soon as they stepped inside, Ryan's eyes lit up. The mall was huge. There were shiny glass elevators zooming up and down, bright colorful store signs, and right in the center, a giant water fountain sparkling under the lights. But the best part, a massive toy store just waiting for him. Mommy looked around at the busy crowd and bent down to Ryan's level. Stay very close to Daddy and me, okay? She said, holding his little hand. Ryan nodded. He would stay close. But then something caught his eye. Right in the toy store window was the coolest remote control car he had ever seen. Flashing lights, giant wheels, and it even had a little driver inside. Without thinking, Ryan let go of Mommy's hand and ran into the store to get a better look. For a whole minute, he stood there, staring in awe. Then, excited, he turned around to tell Mommy and Daddy, but they weren't there. His heart started pounding. He spun around, looking in every direction, left, right, behind him. Nothing. The sea of shoppers blurred together. Mommy, Daddy, his voice came out small, lost in the loud buzz of the mall. A lump formed in his throat, and his eyes started to sting with tears. He wanted to run and look for them, but then he remembered something Mommy had told him once. If you ever get lost, don't run around. Stay where you are or find a walker. Ryan took a deep breath. Okay, stay put. Look for help. Just then, he noticed a kind looking lady in a red vest standing by the checkout corner. She had a name tag, just like Mommy had told him to look for. Ryan gathered his courage and walked up to her. Excuse me, he said, his voice a little wobbly. I can't find my mommy and daddy. The lady bent down and smiled warmly. Oh, sweethearts, don't worry, we'll find them. Let's go to the customer service desk and they'll call them for you. A few minutes later, Ryan heard the best sound in the world. Mommy's voice calling his name. Ryan! He turned and saw Mommy and Daddy rushing toward him. Mommy scooped him up in a big, tight hug. Oh, sweethearts, we were so worried, she said, squeezing him close. Ryan buried his face in her shoulder. I'm sorry, Mommy. I got excited and ran into the store without telling you. Mommy pulled back and cupped his little face. I know, sweetie, but next time don't take off like that, okay? I won't, Ryan promised. But I did what you told me. I stayed in one place and asked for help. Daddy smiled and ruffled his hair. That was the smartest thing you could do. As they left the mall, Ryan held onto his mommy and daddy's hands a little tighter. He had been scared, but he had also done the right thing, and that made him feel proud. So, what is the life lesson here today? If you ever get lost, don't panic. Stay where you are and ask for help. And always, always stay close to your parents, especially in a busy place. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click any of the links on this video in the description box below or on the bio of this page to purchase. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the Adventures of Little Ryan. Ryan didn't expect to find treasure that day. He was just helping his mom hide plastic Easter eggs in the backyard when his little plastic shovel hit something hard under the garden fence. He paused, brushed the dirt away. There, buried beneath the soil, was a small rusted metal box. He opened it carefully. Inside was a rolled up treasure map, faded lines, little symbols, and a golden egg drawn near the bottom. At the top, it read, Find the golden egg. The first clue is where the stories live. Ryan's heart started racing. Nearby in her stroller, his baby sister, only 6 months old, kicked her feet and giggled, like she somehow knew something exciting was about to happen. Minutes later, Ryan's living room was filled with his friends. Maya, always catching, Zaya, the riddle master with glasses, Emma, full of energy with her explorer vest, Tommy, munching on Chin Chin with one hand and pointing at the map with the other. Ryan, still holding the box, looked at his mom. She smiled. We were heading out for the Easter fair anyway. Let's bring your sister. And you, she said to Ryan, can bring them up. So they packed the stroller, grabbed snacks, and started walking. What was supposed to be a quick egg hunt turned into a full blown adventure. Their first stop was the town library, where stories live. Ryan said, and sure enough, tucked behind a shelf of Nigerian folk tales was a plastic egg. Inside, another clue. Go where the music makes people move. Emma bounced in her sneakers. The community center. That's where the dance classes happen. Inside the community center, music echoed through the walls. Kids danced in bright stickers as an instructor led the moves. Ryan looked around and spotted it. There a speaker, a glowing plastic egg. Inside the egg was another clue. Find the place that smells like bread, where buns and cakes and pies are spread. Everyone turned to Tommy, who was mid bites. Bakery, he said with a grin. At Auntie Nkechi's bakery, the smell of fresh puff puff and meat pie filled the air. She laughed when the group walked in. You again? She handed Ryan a small cupcake box tied with gold ribbon. Inside was the final clue and a golden key. The last egg waits where the flowers grow, where you can sit and the wind feels slow. Maya gasped. The park. Ryan's mom looked at her watch. Perfect timing. Let's take your sister for a little walk while the sun's still up. They arrived at the park just before sunset. The group fanned out, checking behind benches, trays, even the picnic table. But nothing. Ryan frowned. What if the map was fake? They sat down by the flowers. Ryan parked the stroller gently by the bush. His baby sister cooed quietly, reaching her little hand toward a leaf. Suddenly, thud, Her stroller bumped something hidden under the bush. Everyone turned. A golden glow peeked through the leaves. Emma gasped. She found it. Inside the egg was a note folded carefully. To the curious child who never stops asking, why? The real treasure is who you share the journey with. Happy Easter. Love, Grandma. Ryan's hands trembled slightly. He looked at his baby sister, now reaching out to hug the empty egg. The whole crew sat together in the grass, laughing and sharing snacks. Maya sketched the tree beside them. Zaid traced the trail they followed on the map. Emma started planning the next adventure. Tommy, still snacking. Ryan smiled and opened his journal. Some memories don't fit in an egg. You carry them in your heart. Then Maya tapped his shoulder. Ryan, there's something on the back of the map. They flipped it over. Faded in the corner were four tiny words. Map 1 of 2. Ryan's eyes widened. There was another map somewhere. This wasn't over. To be continued. Thank you for watching. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. 3 flights, 1 ocean, 1 river. That was all it took for little Ryan and his family to leave Canada and arrive in a place older than memory itself, a place called Ameze, a great village nestled deep in the eastern part of Nigeria. The moment Ryan stepped out of the small bumpy Keke Marua, the hot air wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. The ground under his sneakers was orange-red clay, warm, dusty, and alive. Women danced in swirling Ankara shirts. Children, barefoot in the dust, chased a battered football across the road. Old men tapped gently on talking drums under the shade of mango trees. The air smelled of roasted yams, firewood, and fresh rain waiting in the clouds. Ryan clutched his small backpack tighter. He wasn't sure if he should feel scared or excited. His mother smiled warmly and leaned close. No, Mom. Welcome home, my child. Waiting at the house was Mama Noye, Ryan's grandmother. Her wrapper bright red and gold, her laughter wide enough to fill the entire village square. She hugged Ryan tight, lifting him off the ground in her strong arms. Ryan, well, ma, we have waited for you. The next morning, the whole village buzzed with excitement. It was the Iriji festival, the New Yam festival. Drums echoed from every corner. Goats bleated. Women carried baskets on their heads, their babies tied to their backs. Ryan couldn't believe how many people hugged him. Every auntie, uncle, and cousin seemed to know his name before he even said hello. At the market, he tried roasted corn for the first time, spicy suya, and sweet coconut pieces wrapped in leaves. That evening, under the giant ukwa tree, the village singers performed. One of the songs caught Ryan's ear. He remembered it faintly from when his mom used to sing while washing dishes in Canada. The translation of the song was, Dear mother, dance joyfully. This is a good time. We will dance and celebrate. He smiled, feeling something deep and happy stir inside him. A few days later, Ryan was playing football on the street with his cousins, Chinedu, Obina, and small Ngozi, who twirled more than she kicked. The ball skidded off Ryan's foot, bounced over a bump, and rolled toward the edge of the forest, the Ohia Ukawa forest, the forest that reveals, they called it. Don't go too far, Ryan, Chinedu shouted. But Ryan, laughing, chased after the ball. Just as he reached for it, the ball floated into the air. Ryan gasped and stumbled back. The trees ahead shimmered softly, glowing with tiny golden lights like stars caught in their branches. And standing there was an old woman, leaning on a carved walking stick. Her wrapper was deep green and gold, her eyes sharp and kind. Everyone in the village knew her by her name, Wayoma, the Wise One. Wayoma's voice was gentle but strong. Ryan Wam, do not fear. I have waited for you. I travel from village to village, searching for those whose hearts are pure and who are not afraid to help others. Today, it is your turn. Ryan swallowed hard. He wanted to run back to his cousins, but something about the way she smiled made him stay. Floating above her head was a calabash, beautiful, carved with patterns that seemed to move if you stared too long. Take it, she said simply. Ryan reached for it, but it wouldn't come down. He floated higher. The calabash would only answer to a song, a true song from your spirit. Do you know any songs of our people? Asked Wayoma. Ryan thought hard. Then he remembered the songs his mom used to hum on rainy days. The words she said were from her own mother's village. He took a deep breath, stepped forward, and began to sing the old Igbo song. The song translated to who says life is not good? As we live, we give thanks. He clapped his hand along, trying to find the rhythm. As he sang, the calabash lowered, glowing even brighter. Ryan smiled, feeling braver now. He added another song, the one he heard at the festival. That one translated to the celebration has come, the celebration has come. Let us dance and rejoice. He spun lightly in the dust, clapping and singing with all his heart. The golden lights from the forest rose higher and higher, spreading like fireworks across the sky. Down in the village, the drummers paused. The dancers froze. The elders lifted their heads. Everyone heard it. Riot song floating on the air. The villagers followed the sound. Men, women, and children flooded towards the glowing forest. When they arrived, they found Wyoma standing proudly beside Ryan, the magical calabash shining between them. An elder named Papa Ikenna stepped forward, asked in awe, Wise one, who is this boy? Wyoma smiled and touched Ryan's head. He is the chosen one, the child who carries the songs of his ancestors, the one who was brave enough to listen when others were afraid. He has saved Ameze tonight. The villagers clapped, a sound of pure joy that filled the whole forest. They lifted Ryan onto their shoulders, singing and cheering. Our child, child of Ameze, our Ryan. That evening, under the glittering stars, the village of Ameze danced long after the fires had gone out. Ryan had fallen asleep beneath the big okra tree, his crown of leaves still on his head, his heart full, his dreams glowing. And when he woke up a few hours later, there beside him was the small calabash, no longer floating but seated quietly, waiting for the next time courage would be needed. As Ryan stretched and rubbed his eyes, he spotted something shiny hanging from a tree nearby, a strange, beautiful fruit he had never seen before. It was shaped like a star with thick yellow-green skin and deep ridges. It smelled sweet and earthy. Curious Ryan asked the passing woman what it's called. She laughed and waved over a nearby farmer. Ah, that's Udara Beke, the man said proudly. We call it the white African star apple. It only grows near the oldest trees, and those who find it are said to have strong hearts and sweet dreams. He plucked one carefully and handed it to Ryan. Ryan turned it over in his hands, feeling the warm sun on its skin. He smiled politely and said, Dalu, thank you. But instead of taking a bite, he tucked the fruit carefully into his small backpack. I want to show it to my mom first, he said proudly. And as he walked slowly back through the dusty village paths, past goats, mango trees, and tiny barefoot children waving at him, Ryan felt something warm grow inside him. Not fear, not confusion. Just pride and joy. He couldn't wait to tell his friends back in Canada about everything he had seen, everything he had learned, and everything he now knew about where he came from. And deep in his heart, he knew this was just the beginning of many more adventures in Amazing. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. The cold air beat at Ryan's cheeks as he clutched his mother's hand. He had never felt anything like this before. Back in Nigeria, the sun kissed his skin with warmth, but here in Canada, the air felt sharp, and the snow crunched beneath his boots. His small town was quiet, and everything felt different. Ryan was only 5 years old, and today was his first day at his new school. His stomach twisted in knots as his mother kissed his forehead and sent him off with his teacher. The hallways were lined with colorful posters, and he read them easily. The children chattered amongst themselves, laughing and playing, but Ryan felt too nervous to join in. In class, his teacher spoke, but her words blended into a soft hum. He couldn't concentrate. The letters on the board swam before his eyes, and the math problems looked confusing. When she asked him to answer a question, he froze. Some kids giggled, and his cheeks burned with embarrassment. Lunchtime was worse. He sat alone at the corner of the cafeteria, staring at his jollof rice, while the other kids ate their sandwiches. He wanted to go home. He missed his old school, his friends, and the warmth of Lagos. Every day felt lonelier than the last, and soon he dreaded going to school. Then everything changed one afternoon. During recess, he sat under a tree, watching the other kids play tag. A boy with curly blonde hair named Ethan and his younger brother Oliver, who was in kindergarten, approached him. Wanna play? Ethan asked, holding out a hand. Ren hesitated, but Ethan smiled. It's easy. Just run when I tag you. Oliver giggled beside him. I like to play too. Something inside Ryan lit up. He nodded, standing up slowly. Ethan tagged him and dashed away. For the first time in weeks, Ryan laughed. He chased after Ethan, his legs pumping, the cold air forgotten. The next day, Ethan and Oliver sat next to him at lunch. What's that? He asked, pointing to Ryan's jollof rice. It's rice, Ryan said quietly. Can I try? Ethan asked. Ethan took a bite and his eyes widened. Whoa, this is good. He turned to the other kids. Guys, you gotta try this. Soon, a few more kids came over, curious. Oliver clapped excitedly. Ryan's food is really yummy. Ryan, for the first time, didn't feel like an outsider. He felt seen and welcomed. His teacher also noticed that he was struggling to focus in class. She sat with him after school, helping him adjust to the new teaching style. He began to raise his hand in class, even when his voice trembled. Weeks passed, and the school no longer felt like a strange, cold place. It became a home. Ryan looked forward to seeing Ethan and his friends. He laughed more, he ran during recess, he answered questions in class with growing confidence. One morning, as his mom walked him to the school doors, he turned to her and smiled. I like it in here now, he said. His mother smiled, pressing a kiss to his forehead. I'm proud of you, my son. As Ryan ran inside to greet his friends, he knew he had found his place. The experience taught Ryan an important lesson. Change can be scary, but with kindness, patience, and an open heart, new places can become home. He learned that making friends starts with a simple act of courage, whether it's saying hello, sharing a meal, or joining a game. And most importantly, he realized that no matter where you come from, there is always a place where you belong. As Ryan stepped into his classroom, he took a deep breath. The once unfamiliar walls now felt welcoming, and the once daunting lessons now sparked curiosity. He glanced over at Ethan and Oliver, who waved him over excitedly. He grinned, hurrying to join them. He had found his place, not just in the school, but in a new chapter of his life. A new beginning, a new home, and a heart full of possibility. But just as he settled into his seat, he felt a strange sensation, as if someone was watching him. He turned toward the classroom door and for the briefest moment saw a young boy standing near the lockers, picking at him before quickly disappearing around the corner. Ryan's heart skipped a bit. He hesitated for a moment before slowly rising from his seat. His curiosity burned stronger than his fear. Who was that boy? What did he want? As Ryan stepped cautiously into the hallway, he caught another glimpse of the boy disappearing around another corner. His breath quickened. Should he follow? His feet moved before his mind could decide, leading him down the empty corridor. The echoes of his own footsteps filled the air, and for a moment he felt completely alone. Just as he turned the next corner, he saw the boy standing at the far end of the hallway, watching him with wide knowing eyes. The boy raised a hand, as if signaling Ryan to come closer. Ryan swallowed hard. His pulse pounded in his ears. Was this a trick? Was the boy real? And why did he feel like he had seen him before? A chill ran down Ryan's spine, but his legs remained rooted to the spot. He wanted to run, but he also needed to know who was this mysterious boy and why was he waiting for him? The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page to purchase and enjoy more heartwarming stories. See you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Ryan took careful steps towards the mysterious boy standing at the end of the dim hallway. Each step felt heavier, echoing softly like whispers. The lights above flickered slightly, casting strange shadows on the walls. As he got closer, he noticed something unusual. The boy's clothes were old fashioned, like from a forgotten photograph. His eyes were deep brown, filled with secrets and sadness. Who are you? Ryan asked, his voice trembling slightly. The boy smiled faintly, eyes sparkling mysteriously. My name is Samuel, he said softly, glancing around nervously as if someone might overhear. And I've been waiting a very long time for you. Ryan's heart raced. Waiting for me? Why me? Samuel took a step closer, his voice lowering to a whisper. Because you are different. You notice things others miss. You know what it's like to feel invisible, alone, forgotten. Ryan felt chills run down his spine. How do you know about me? Samuel hesitated, his eyes full of sadness. Because I was once like you, Ryan. I moved here many years ago. It was cold, lonely, and the other kids never noticed me. Eventually, I just disappeared. Disappeared? Ryan gasped, his eyes widening. What do you mean? Samuel glanced down, his voice now barely audible. I faded away. I became invisible, forgotten by everyone, unseen and unheard, until you arrived. Why me? Ryan whispered, feeling the hallway growing colder. Samuel leaned closer, urgency in his eyes. You have a gift. You can see those who've been forgotten, right? But be careful. You're not the only one who sees. Someone else is watching. Someone who doesn't want me found. Ryan's breath quickened. Who is it? Samuel's eyes darted around nervously. He's called the Watcher. He doesn't like when invisible children are found and remembered. He will try to stop you. A sudden creak echoed loudly behind Ryan, making him spin around. The hallway stretched, empty and dark. Yet, Ryan sensed a shadow moving just beyond the corner. Samuel grabbed his hand urgently, though Ryan could barely feel it. You must help the others. Help them feel seen. Only kindness and courage can defeat the Watcher. But how do I find them? Ryan asked urgently. Samuel smiled mysteriously, starting to shimmer and fade. They will find you. Be brave, Ryan. You have the power. Wait, Ryan called desperately. Will I see you again? Perhaps, Samuel whispered faintly, vanishing slowly into the darkness. Remember, you were never alone. Ryan stood frozen, his heart pounding. Behind him, the shadows seemed to stare. He turned quickly towards his classroom, a new determination in his heart. Samuel's words echoed clearly in his mind. He had a mission now, a dangerous yet important one. Days passed, and Ryan began noticing other quiet children, those who sat alone, invisible to the eyes of others. He reached out to them, invited them to play, shared lunches, and soon they began to smile. The watcher grew restless, shadows deepening around the corners, but Ryan stayed strong. One evening after school, the watcher appeared, a tall, shadowy figure looming ominously. Stop this, Ryan, it hissed. They must stay hidden. No, Ryan replied bravely, his voice firm despite his trembling heart. Everyone deserves to be seen. As Ryan spoke, the hallway filled with a warm, bright glow. Samuel appeared beside him, smiling proudly, along with all the children Ryan had helped. Their presence weakened the watcher, who shrank back into the darkness, defeated. You did it, Ryan, Samuel said, his voice filled with joy and relief. Your courage and kindness won. Ryan smiled, knowing he'd completed his mission. Samuel nodded gently, his form shimmering brightly, at peace at last. Thank you, Ryan, Samuel whispered. Remember, you are never alone. Ryan turned confidently back towards his classroom, filled with warmth, courage, and the joy of victory, knowing he had truly made a difference. So, what did we learn from Ryan, the Watcher, Samuel, and the Lonely Kids? We learned that everyone deserves to feel seen, valued, and included. Kindness and courage can overcome fear and loneliness. Even small acts of friendship can have a powerful, lasting impact. You are never truly alone. There are always people who care. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, the Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan.